Hello, everyone. Lauren here. So, I wanted to design this character, but it took me like a month, which is honestly the longest I've ever spent on a design. And I really struggled through it. Like, yikes, right? So I'm here to like kind of self-critique what I think I did well in and also recognize and acknowledge what went wrong so that I could possibly do better in the future. So this girly here, before I even started designing her, I had like one goal in mind, which was to create like a chubbier OC. Because all of my OCs basically have like the same body type, which is skinny, let's be real. One of my professors is like helping me build up a portfolio this semester, and she's encouraging me to put some variety in my work because she was like, okay, you're into character design, draw different body types, draw more men. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I'll start with a bigger girl. She is a woman, more feminine type character, still kind of in my comfort zone, but I wanted to expand in terms of body types. So I started looking up references for like bigger girls, and then I made a mood board for possible outfits and aesthetics. And then I started drawing. And honestly, I think that was my first mistake, is that I just dove straight into the final drawing. And I just skipped too many steps of the character design process. Because, character design involves a lot of brainstorming and exploration and a lot of concept art that I really didn't have for her. First, I think I should have explored the various body types that she could fall into, because all I knew was that I wanted her to have more fat than my typical character, but I didn't know exactly how much bigger she would be compared to them. Plus size is a broad term for a lot of bigger body types, and so I should have explored, like, is she gonna be short? Is she gonna be tall? Like, exactly how big would she be? Because I really didn't know. And I didn't even know what type of hairstyle she would have. I just knew that I wanted it to be curly. I had an idea of what ethnicity I wanted her to be. I wanted her to be Mexican, but I didn't exactly pinpoint what type of facial features I wanted her to have. Would she have a long nose, big or small eyes, thin or thick lips? I really should have explored a bunch of possibilities before even attempting to draw like the final illustration. And I didn't even have like rough concept art, which is bad for the process. This is my only drawing of her, and that shouldn't be the case. When designing a character, I should be drawing them multiple times so that I can get a feel for how they can change and how they can stay the same in terms of, design. But I just dove straight into drawing a full body illustration of her, which I shouldn't have done. And I think it's because I grew up learning about OC culture and making my own OCs, which are original characters. And I feel like most OCs are made with like a straightforward approach where you draw the character one time and then you're like, cool, I have an OC now. Then that's how I approach this. But with the way that I am trying to train myself to create actual like character design art for my portfolio, I should have approached it with kind of more of a professional character design process. Because these days I feel like I really want to start taking myself seriously as a character designer. I mean, all these years I've kind of just been looking at myself like I'm a social media artist. I just, chug out content, chug out art for like Instagram or Twitter. But then I'm not really taking any steps forward in my career as a character designer. I saw this tweet that was like, if you want to be a character designer for animation, you're gonna have to design a lot more than just nice outfits. And I was like, wow, okay, like that is basically what I do right now. I just design outfits. I don't exactly design the characters themselves. I mean, I design them like once and then I leave them alone as they are, and then I kind of just make different outfits for them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think in the direction that I want to go in the future, I definitely need to start being stricter with myself and challenging how I approach character design. So like this character was definitely a learning experience for me because I realized just how faulty my workflow is. And now that I'm done with that first ramble, I'm gonna thank today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat, and I'm gonna eat some snacks. So Tokyo Treat is a monthly subscription snack box for Japanese snacks. And this is the box for April, so if you're interested in getting this specific box, you would have to sub for April. I will have a discount code down in the description where you could save $5 off your first month. And I think every month this pack comes with a different flavored Kit Kat and also like one drink and lots of sweets and chocolates. So I ended up really liking the Sakura Manju, which is like a bean paste that is cherry blossom flavored, and I gobbled that thing up. I think every month they always include a Kit Kat that is flavored, and this month was a peach flavored Kit Kat which had a surprisingly strong taste. They also had these mini Calpico ice cream things. The one I tried started out as a kind of a strawberry flavor, and then it turned into chocolate, which was like a fun treat. I think my favorite out of everything has to be the Ghana brand chocolate that they included, because there were these cake bites that have basically cake inside of like chocolate balls, and then also these truffles were really good because I'm a huge fan of chocolate truffles, and I was tempted to eat all of them, but I wanted to share with my mom. This one is a cherry flavored candy, which I ended up really liking, and I am a maniac who bites down hard candies like this, so I ate these pretty fast. I think every month might also come with a bowl of instant ramen, and my sister ended up trying this one out. It had a little bit of spice to it, not too much, but it did taste good, according to her opinion. Sakuraco is Tokyo Treat's sister company, which has a lot more traditional and authentic snacks from Japan. For April, their theme is also cherry blossoms, and they have things like mochi and tea and always one piece of tableware, I believe. I will also have a separate discount code for this one where you can again get $5 off your first month. This Sakura Castella had a really strong cherry blossom flavor, and it kind of reminded me of like choco pie a little bit with the breading. So for this one, my small American brain wants to compare it to Nerds, which is definitely less sophisticated than this snack, but it's a nice cherry blossom flavored candy. They also had these shortbread cookies, which might be my favorite from Sakuraco's box because it has like this chocolate in the middle, which I ended up really liking, and it came with 2 flavors, which is a bonus. These rice crackers here actually tasted a lot like shrimp chips, which I'm a huge fan of, except they're like a lot more strongly flavored than shrimp chips, which is a good thing. This cherry blossom flavored mochi was also really good. And I appreciate how they include more than one if it's a smaller snack so that you could try it even more. But I think the thing that I was looking forward to the most is the tableware, because I actually kind of want to collect them now from these boxes. This time around I got the black version of the plate, even though I kind of wanted the white one, but it's nice either way. So if you're interested in getting your own boxes for April from Sakuraco and Tokyo Treat, check out the description. There will be links in there for $5 off your first month. So thank you once again to Tokyo Treat and Sakuraco for sponsoring this video. So getting back into this sketch, as I started drawing, I definitely wasn't confident, and I almost felt like hesitant with my strokes. It was definitely out of my comfort zone to draw this type of body type. It didn't even turn out how I wanted it to look in the initial sketch. I remember sketching it and I was like, bro, she still looks skinny. Like, what did I do wrong? And I was trying to get opinions from my sister on how I could make her actually look chubbier. And looking back on it now, I definitely should have done studies of plus size models so that I could understand better how to draw fat on a body. And I could have even done some gesture drawings to get more confident in my ability to draw bigger girls in different poses, because I only did one pose here. With her hair, like I mentioned before, I just knew that I wanted it to be curly, and so I went with like big, puffy hair. But then I was like, I don't really like it. And this is something that I also should have done before heading straight into trying to design her final form, is messing around with possible silhouettes with the hair and also the clothes. Because as you can see here, I'm trying to draw some clothes on her. I didn't like fully commit to it because I just didn't like how it was looking. I was just at a point in this design where I was really frustrated, and so I had to take quite a bit of a break from it before revisiting it after doing some adjustments off camera. So with the mood board that you see on the side there, that is a template taken from Night Zhang's video on costume design. I will put it up here and I will also link it down in the description. Basically, I put together some stuff that I wanted her to be wearing and also colors that would match her aesthetic, and you see green and pink there, and it's because I wanted her to have a watermelon type of bubbly vibe, and I wanted her to be wearing those colors. And I really like this like Care Bear pattern thing, and I wanted her to be wearing kind of patches and like knitted things. But later on you see going into the colors, it doesn't really turn out that way. So moving on to her face, I mentioned earlier that I wanted her to be Mexican, and so I was trying to look up specific features that make that evident. And I noticed that most of my characters tend to look Asian, even if I didn't specifically like try to make them look Asian, or if I didn't have a certain nationality in mind for them. And I think it's because I tend to gravitate towards drawing faces that are similar to mine because I am Filipino, I am Asian, and I do tend to draw characters' eyes like my own eyes, and also like my nose, my lips and stuff. And this time around I was very aware of trying to avoid that, and that's one of the things that I think I did well with this design because she looks nothing like me. So I made her nose longer than the usual ones that I draw and also less upturned. And I wanted her eyebrows to be thick and her eyes to be round because personality-wise, she's supposed to give off a rather like friendly vibe. So I wanted that to show in her eyes. And I do think her eyes are pretty friendly. But I think I made them more droopy than I intended. And so that kind of added more to the personality that she had, and in the end it kind of made her it like reminded me of a hippie, almost like a relaxed hippie that is very friendly because of how droopy her eyes got at a certain point. Another thing that I wanted to avoid was accidentally shaving weight off of her face, like in the cheek and jaw area, because I was trying to like stick to my style or whatever. And honestly, I think that is something that artists tend to do to bigger characters, is that they kind of slim down their face and then use the excuse that it's just their style or something. And I wanted to avoid that with this one. I wanted her face to also look like a bigger girl's face. And it kind of makes me contemplate the first time that I was challenged to draw a plus size character, which was my commission where I drew Mr. Cupid, which is the character that I drew in my very first draw with me. And I've learned a lot of things since then, and looking back on it, I do think that I chickened out on drawing like a big stomach. I just drew like one fold in the waist and then that was it. I still made their stomach small. And I also thinned out their jaw and cheeks because, like those other artists, I wanted it to look like quote-unquote my style, even though it was just an excuse, honestly. And this time around, I'm not saying that I did like a fantastic job or anything with this design, but I do think that I did better than I thought I would. And with her hair, I decided to go with like huge like space buns because it adds like an interesting shape to her silhouette without really disrupting her shoulder area. I wanted her hair to give off a very thick texture. And now I realize that I drew a hairband, but I forgot to color it in when I rendered. So it kind of just like disappeared into her hair in the final product. But I think I definitely could have like messed around with more hairstyles. However, I do think at this point, I kind of just wanted to commit to like something and then change it later on when I rework her, because I'm definitely going to be revisiting this design in the future with a different workflow. And at this point, I was feeling ready to tackle her clothing, and I knew I wanted her top to be one that was showing skin because I didn't want to cover up like a nice belly I just drew. And I was also like struggling with this fold here on her side because, you know, that is something that happens when you have fat on your waist is it like creates a fold or a line on the side. I was struggling because I was like, I wanted it to be there, but then when I drew it, it looked wrong or it looked weird, and I was like it doesn't look like how it's supposed to, and so I just kind of left it out for now and I tackle it later on. I love long skirts, so I messed around with giving her one. I was messing around with the different types of skirts, but I knew that for sure I wanted to have like a pattern or patches on it. I was just trying to get the shape down, and I kind of just like went with a flowy one, and the skirt ended up looking similar to the one I drew for Sydney for her Halloween design. And again, I didn't want to cover up her stomach, so I just like kind of made her skirt low-waisted in a way which honestly kind of feels uncomfortable, because if you've ever worn something low-waisted, you know it's not like the most comfortable thing. And when I was looking up references of plus-size girls in skirts, most of them were wearing high-waisted skirts, but I was like, I don't want to cover up her belly button. Look at that pudgy belly button, it looks so nice. So I was being stubborn and I drew the skirt like low-waisted like this. I mean, it's not like completely low-waisted, it's like medium rise kind of, but it also makes her stomach look a bit more round and kind of like out there instead of being squeezed into the skirt. I feel like I definitely could have given her a better muffin top, because a skirt like this would have a band that would be like squeezing into her waist or her hips, so it would create a much more drastic muffin top. So that's something that I would probably fix once I go back to this design. When I got around to her jacket or cardigan, basically like her arm area, I was having some difficulty with it because I have all of these like nice knitted cardigans in my mood board, but when I was drawing them and making them long, I found that I was just disrupting the silhouette that I just created with a skirt. And then I kind of just got like tired of trying to make it work, and so I gave her a cardigan that was like kind of short. Like, I don't know, it really doesn't make any practical sense. Like, I don't know why it's like going behind her body. So that's definitely something I'm gonna have to scrap or spend like way more time on once I redo her design. So here you can see that I'm once again trying to tackle that stomach fat on the side and trying to get that line to look correct, but I don't know, it was just so difficult for me to do, and then I gave up. And this is definitely where like gesture drawing would have come in handy, because I would have understood how to draw the folds of fat better on the side of the stomach. And then moving on, I kind of wasn't liking the skirt, and the silhouette still kind of felt boring here. I outlined it a little bit, and so I decided to give her some pants that were kind of bell-bottom to kind of create more interesting silhouette. And then the jeans would also have patches, because for some reason I just really love putting patches in my outfit designs. So this outfit with the pants is what I ended up finalizing, although I do still really like the skirt, so I might just make it like a secondary outfit for her. But at this point, I was considering names for her, and I landed on Esmeralda, or Esme for short, and then also Ramona. And I told my patrons over on Patreon, and most of them agreed that Esmeralda matched her a lot more than Ramona, so I chose that name for her. And you will see here that a lot of the coloring actually happened off screen, and that is because choosing the colors was the thing that I struggled with the most. Like, the color scheme was giving me the biggest headache ever, and every time I tried to record it, I was just spending way too long on it, and I was like, this wouldn't be interesting to watch. And so I just didn't include it in this video. Plus, I just hate looking back on it because I'm like, it's so frustrating. Remember how I said that I wanted her to have a bubblegum and watermelon vibe? Well, yeah, I tried and it just didn't turn out so great. So, of course, I just turned to my failsafe, which is just a variation of like a primary color scheme with like a blue, an orange, and a red thing. with blue being the dominant color because of the jeans. And honestly, I still wasn't satisfied with these colors. God, it's so frustrating. Like, it got to a point where I really just considered scrapping this entire thing because I was so frustrated that it wasn't going how I wanted it to. But I thought, like, hey, I've already done so much work on this and I might as well just do a small bit of like rendering just so that it looks a little bit more finished, you know? Even though I don't super like the colors, let me just get to a point where I can call it finished. And also, I was submitting this into my portfolio for class, so I kind of had to like actually finish it. That problem with the colors, I feel like it arose because I didn't explore them enough. I mean, I tried to explore them, but like this was something that I should have done before even drawing her, right? It's like deciding on a color scheme. But because I avoided to do that step, it caused me a lot of problems in the end. It almost made me give up. And I mean, like with all that said, I am still pretty proud of myself for doing this. Because when I posted a whip of her on Instagram, I got comments of people like saying that she looked like them, and it honestly made me really happy to like know that people saw themselves in my art. So this experience definitely motivates me to challenge myself a lot more and draw more different things. And I'm looking forward to revisiting Esmeralda's design. And hopefully it will be a video in the future, but I'm kind of feeling that like draw with me's are starting to get a little bland. Let me know how you feel about that. I don't know if you're starting to get bored with draw with me's, but I might try to experiment with a different format in the future. And I might also turn her into a sticker for my shop, so watch out for that. I don't know yet, but yeah, I just very quickly wanted to thank you all if you made it this far into the video, and thank you so much for the support, and thank you for watching. Thank you. I feel like I kind of haven't said that in a while, and so I'm gonna thank you a lot right now. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.